Can hypnosis help relieve the symptoms of anxiety? That's what we're going to find out. Hello, and if you're watching this, thank you for watching. My name is Darren Johnson. I'm a qualified hypnotherapist. I produce a video every Wednesday on YouTube looking at all things to do with hypnotherapy and how hypnotherapy can help you. I specialise in helping corporate professionals in a work-related environment who are suffering with work-related anxiety. My job is to help them get back on track as quickly as possible to help them succeed at their goals in winning the job that they love. If you feel that you are suffering from work-related anxiety, click on my link below where you can book a free, no obligation chat for 20 minutes where we can look and help you get the goals that you want for in the future. Now let's have a look at the anxiety. So it's safe to say that in this day and age, nearly everybody at some point in their life will suffer some form of anxiety. Anxiety is caused by so many different things. It can be caused by grief, it can be caused by arguments, it can even be caused by bullying, it can be caused from bullying at school, bullying in the workplace, it can be caused by domestic abuse, it can be caused by a whole host of things. The most important thing is that if anxiety isn't dealt with, then what will happen is the symptoms will only grow. Some of the symptoms that people often experience is things like stomach cramps, nausea, night sweats, shaking, trembling, and most of all, panic attacks. And panic attacks are probably one of the worst because those that suffer with panic attacks often say that they think they're having a heart attack, even though it is a panic attack. However, with hypnotherapy, these things can be resolved very quickly and very easily. The first thing we would do in the session, before even looking at hypnosis, is we will do what we call a Q&A. So often everybody knows what Q&A is, which is questions and answers. And the reason that we do this is we'll ask often specific questions to get you to open your mind. Then when we got enough of the information from the Q&A, we'll then have an open discussion. So we'll ask you about different things in your life that maybe went on that you can relate to. And the reason why we do this is because we need to get to the root of the problem. If there's a trauma, we have to bring the trauma to the surface because the likelihood is that the trauma hasn't been dealt with. So we need to bring the trauma to the surface and to see if it's the trauma that's actually causing the anxiety signals. If that's the case, then what we'll do is we will then go on and do the hypnosis. Now, how it works in regards to anxiety and trauma is imagine your mind is like, imagine an iceberg. So you have the tip of an iceberg above the water, which is a small amount, and then a larger part below the water, which is a bit like in mind. So 90% of our mind is actually subconscious and only 10% of it is actually conscious. So what happens is imagine your conscious is like switches flicking on and off all the time. And it happens when you don't realize it. At every point through our life, whatever we look at, whatever we experience, whatever we think and feel, our subconscious takes a photo of it and it stores it. Now, sometimes what can happen is if there is a big trauma or a small trauma, it'll flick a switch. Now, if that's not dealt with, that switch stays on. And what it'll do is the subconscious sends triggers to the body to say something's not right. And then the body starts to react. And that's where the anxiety comes in. So more often than not, when I see a client, they don't realize why they're suffering this anxiety. It's often because of a past trauma. That's when hypnosis comes in. So what we'll do is when we put the client under hypnosis, we regress them back to the period of the trauma, but we do it in a completely safe environment. So we wouldn't have them to relive it as themselves. We'll ask them to visit the trauma from an outside perspective, so they're kind of looking in. What we'll then do is we'll look to try and bring closure on that. Once we're able to bring closure on the trauma, we'll then deal in what we call parts negotiation, and that's literally flicking off the switch. So what we're essentially doing is we're saying to the subconscious, thank you so much for what you've done. You've done a great job in trying to protect the person from this, but now we needed to find another way of dealing with it. And then what will happen is the subconscious will automatically reprogram itself so that in a similar situation, the client will no longer start experiencing these anxiety symptoms. Now, sometimes these happen on one session, sometimes these can happen on a couple of different sessions. But ultimately, hypnotherapy, the benefits of it versus traditional therapy is traditional therapy can sometimes take months because the therapist has to try and get the client to bring all this to the surface, and the client might not feel comfortable. With hypnotherapy, once we bring that to the surface, we'll go in and speak to the subconscious and get the subconscious to flick that switch. So ultimately, you can walk away either feeling nearly no symptoms or no symptoms whatsoever. So yeah, ultimately, hypnotherapy is very, very good at helping with anxiety. And what we would even do is we would leave the client with the tools so that if they ever experience anything like this again, they would know exactly what to do. But we would be so confident that the subconscious would be able to handle it in the new way that the client might never even need to even use those tools. So I hope that even though this video is short, I hope it's helped to give some perspective on how hypnotherapy can help with anxiety. If you would like more information, please don't hesitate to contact me. Find the link below. And I will see you on the next video. Until next time, thank you so much for watching. Bye for now.